But I have one part of it, which is we can start to reclaim our military. We can start to do that work. We can start to make sure that when they start talking about National Guard forces, that we don't elect a governor who's willing to allow his National Guard to be illegally used in an occupation overseas, which right now, every Guard deployment, including my own, is illegal. And a governor we have yet to have a governor step up and say, you're not taking my National Guard. Why are those governors then getting our votes? Why is this issue not even raised there? And it starts from us making that our military and making that our effort, starting to go out to these places, talk to these soldiers, the soldiers that are in your communities, the soldiers that are in your families. It's easier to just let it go and to not be confrontational about it. It's an easy route to go. But I was having lunch with my boss at my job. I work for a homeless shelter now. I run an initiative to end homelessness among veterans here in the district. And I was having lunch with my boss today, and we talked about how when veterans come home, we're told, take your medals and sit down and shut up. But it should be the opposite. We should be encouraging our soldiers to tell us everything that they did. First of all, it's good for the soldier, actually. It's good not to bottle it down for 20 years. And literally bottle it down, because that's how a lot of veterans are dealing, through a bottle. It's better to actually tell those stories. It's better for our society. It's better for us having an understanding of what actually happens when we say the defense of this country. Because that's how each of these wars is built. And as we start to learn from these, some of the things that we need to learn are, Phyllis brought up an excellent point of President Obama went after Afghanistan because he needed his military chops. He needed to be strong on defense. But the reality of it is, what was defense? What is he being strong on? There's a great book that IPS actually helps put out, Lessons from Iraq, that I taught from in my class. And there's 10 lessons in there, correct? It's 10? 10 lessons. If we actually learned those lessons as a country, we wouldn't have another Iraq, I guarantee you that. And we wouldn't have another of these offensive wars. And so I'd highly recommend picking that up. And so on my last point, I want to kind of address who is making that now. Who's making the decision on what defense means right now? It's a series of think tanks that unfortunately is not IPS. I really wish it was. But it's mostly think tanks that are the ousted party. And what happens is you have these officials who go work while their party's in power. They go work for the government, and then when their party's not, they go work in these think tanks, and they feed their powers. I mean, the Center for American Progress is a great example of that. They fund Democrats. They love Democrats. They love to say that they're against the war, but the reality is they continue to support Democrats who are very pro-occupation. And so we see that, and what happens is you have these types of things that co-opt movements like ours. And we have to make sure that our movements aren't co-opted, that we don't go into there. And we really have to hold people that claim to represent us to the fire. I now represent Iraq Veterans Against the War as the chair of the board. As soon as I stop representing IVAW to the way that my members want IVAW to be represented, I would hope they drag me out of office. I would hope so. That's the kind of thing that we need, not physically dragging people out of office. I'm not advocating for this physical dragging. Others may, I'm going to be clear that we're not, but a metaphorical dragging them out of the offices, yes. We need to make sure that this is our work, and that we don't cede this work to others. And that we don't, because it's hard, and I know that a lot of people, working people, my mother's one of them. She works at Home Depot. She makes $12 an hour. When she gets home from a 40-hour week, she doesn't want to go do policy stuff. She barely has time to read the newspaper. But yet she finds a way to do it. She's a sustaining donor to IVAW. She has a big sign on the front of her house. She goes to the marches. She does the work. And she challenges candidates. She goes out to the forums and challenges the candidates. She makes sure that she's an informed person. A lot of what I do is modeled because of what she does and what she's accomplished. It's made me a better activist, a better person, and I think that that's the kind of level that I would hope that we're striving to as citizens. Because if we're not taking charge of this system, then it won't be just a flawed democracy. And right now it is a flawed democracy. And if we're not working out those flaws, then they're working to put more of them in. Thanks.
Thank you, Geoff.